am Sora Sheila Tidline. I pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha in 1984, November the 15th at St. Augustine's College. I was 20 years old and I was the happiest person on earth at that time, truthfully, because it's something that I dreamed to become since I was probably 12 years old. I just wanted it so bad. And that reality came in 1984. So I am so honored, so honored to be able to put together a small presentation on behalf of the founders of our most gracious sorority amongst and before hundreds of sorors. I envision this chapter as a chapter that would intimidate me because there are 300 plus sorors, and I never envisioned someone at my age even to have an opportunity to even be asked to do something of this nature. Not only have I been asked and given the honor to do this, but I've also, as many of you know, been recently elected as an officer. So I thank you for giving me this opportunity. I thank you for inviting me and embracing me into the chapter. And I also would like for you to join me as we celebrate our founders today at 2007, as we reflect back to 1908, as we look forward. Everybody's looking forward to 1908 to 2008. Next year is our centennial. We are all going to Washington. We know we're going to paint the White House pink and green. Everything is just going to be all about us, and I'm just so excited. So let's reflect on our founders today, our original founders. Let's look at our chapter's history a little bit and just reflect and be happy and be proud to be the gracious Alpha Kappa Alpha ladies that we are. I love you. Ethel Hedgeman Lau graduated with a liberal arts degree and taught at the Normal School in Oklahoma. She married her high school and college sweetheart, George Lau, on June 21, 1911. In recognition of her role as the founder of Alpha Kappa Alpha, she was named honorary president at the 1926 National Convention. She carried this title until she became an Ivy Beyond the Wall in 1950. No other woman has ever held such a title. Lily Burke. She was born in Harford County, North Carolina. She graduated with a degree in English. She was described as tall, fair, and good-looking. She taught English at Fairfield State Normal School. Later, she returned to Washington, D.C., where she had a long career in public schools. She was a faithful member of the sorority, always available for advice and consultation. She became an Ivy Beyond the Wall in 1949. Beulah Elizabeth Burke, born in Harford County, North Carolina. She was known to be the most generous and productive of all of the founders. She was an active member for 67 years. She taught Latin, German, English, and home economics. After Howard, she studied at the University of Chicago and earned a master's degree in home economics at Columbia University. She chartered the first 3 chapters of the sorority after its incorporation. She had a career in teaching and was Howard's first Dean of Women. She was known for her beautiful sewing and tailoring. She became an Ivy Beyond the Wall in 1975. Margaret Flagg Holmes was born in Greensboro, North Carolina. She majored in English and Latin. She taught in Baltimore, Maryland at the same school with Lisa Slow. During her summer, she earned a Master's of Arts degree in philosophy from Columbia University. In 1917, she married John Clay Holmes and moved to Chicago. She became an Ivy Beyond the Wall in 1976. Marie Woolford Taylor. She was a Southern belle. She wore such pretty clothes that many students said she had more dresses than all of the rest of the group combined. She accompanied Ethel Hedgeman to seek permission to establish the sorority. After Howard, she studied religion. In 1929, she married Dr. Alfred G. Taylor and had one daughter, who became a lady of Alpha Kappa Alpha as well. Marie became an Ivy Beyond the Wall in 1960. Anna Easter Brown, born on Easter Sunday. She was known for accomplishing a great deal while seeming to put forth little effort. At Howard University, she had the reputation of being solid, reliable, gentle, and sweet. She was a teacher for 31 years. She was the charter member of Chi Omega in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. She became an Ivy Beyond the Wall in 1957. Lavinia Norman was born in Montgomery, West Virginia. She was described as a sweet-faced, soft-voiced blonde who was somewhat of a dreamer. She always offered constructive suggestions to the group. She majored in English and French. However, she enrolled in as many classes as she was allowed to take. Alice P. Murray. She was amongst the sophomores who formed the sorority. She earned an A.B. degree in liberal arts and pathology in 1910. Many articles written by her were published by the Howard University Journal. Her published short stories revealed her to have been a sensitive, cultivated person. Ethel Jones Marbury. She was born in Baltimore, Maryland. She was the president of the sorority the last semester of her senior year. She graduated from Howard with a major in mathematics and a minor in education. She taught in the Baltimore school system for 2 years. In 1913, she married George Marbury and moved to Chicago. She was the mother of 2 daughters. She became an Ivy Beyond the Wall in 1948. Marjorie Hill, small, sweet-voiced girl who continually referred to what my mama says no matter what the occasion or discussion. Her major studies were pathology and political science. After Howard, she taught at Morgan College in Lynchburg, Virginia. Marjorie Hill died in the summer of 1909. She was the first Ivy Beyond the Wall. Lucy Diggs Lowe. She was born in Berryville, Virginia. She attended elementary and high school in Baltimore, Maryland. She was an excellent scholar, tennis champion, and singer. The first president of Alpha Kappa Alpha. She was a high school principal and later became the Dean of Women at Howard University, which is a position she filled with honor until she became an Ivy Beyond the Wall in 1937. Sarah Meriwether Nutter, a native of Washington, D.C. She was known to be brisk, always in a hurry. She wore her hair in a knot. After she graduated from Howard University, she did graduate work at the University of Chicago. In 1920, she married attorney T.G. Nutter and moved to Charleston, West Virginia. Sarah's mother was also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. In 1941, the Washington, D.C. graduate chapter donated a cherry wood table to the university. The table is now in the Founders Library at Howard. This was all done in her memory. In 1950, she became an ivy beyond the wall. Joanna Barry Shields was born in Virginia. She started Howard University in the preparatory department in 1901. Her major subjects were social science and mathematics. She graduated cum laude with an AB degree. She taught at Winston-Salem University, then known as the Normal School, as well as the New York City school system. She was a distant relative to Zora Lavinia Norman, and they were very close. She became an ivy beyond the wall in 1965. Harriet Josephine Terry, born in New York. She entered Howard in 1906. She was known for her quiet charm and ever-present smile. She graduated in 1910 with an AB degree. Her major subject was English. She taught for a while in Virginia. While there, she worked in the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, making and inspecting money. Her love for teaching led her to Alabama, where she taught English for 37 years. She was an avid reader and loved literature, people, and movies. She was known to interrupt her students' oral presentations with a firm, "That will do." She retired from teaching in 1959 and returned to Washington. She became an ivy beyond the wall in 1967. Carrie Snowden. She entered Howard in 1906. She was described as small, slim, and a very gracious young woman eager to join the sorority. She graduated in 1910 with a BA degree. She was employed at Howard as a switchboard operator until retirement. She became an ivy beyond the wall in 1948. Norma Elizabeth Board, born in Washington, D.C. She majored in mathematics and graduated in 1910. Eager to further her education, she enrolled in graduate courses in education and public relations at Columbia, NYU, and University of California, Berkeley, amongst many. Norma Board served in many positions. She served as chapter president, regional director, and charter member and president of Xi Omega chapter in Washington, D.C. She was the first to chair the first fundraiser for the Mississippi Health Project. In 1938, she established the Nonpartisan Council on Public Affairs. In addition to celebrating our founders, our national founders of the sorority, I also thought it was important to pay recognition and honor to the founders of Epsilon Omega chapter. As we know, Epsilon Omega was originally known as the Sigma chapter, but several days later it became Epsilon Omega. There were 11 members of the chartering of Epsilon Omega, but the two that stand out the most, or the two that I've heard the most, were Sora's Vivian Mason and Vivian Cook. I like to thank them in memory of them, in honor of them, for taking the initiative to have one of the first graduate chapters in the country to be here in our city of Baltimore. So in memory of them, in honor of them, we thank them and recognize them this Founders Day as well.